Hey, so earlier today, it came out that the upcoming Psylocke Ninja series is going to be with the Betsy Braddock version of Psylocke. They had solicited this a while ago, but they didn't. I think people assumed it would be Quanon because she's Psylocke in the current X-Men books, but they're using the popular version of Psylocke for this new series. Uh, so that's pretty interesting. Some things have happened recently with Psylocke that are kind of note. There's been this action figure based on the Marvel vs. Capcom game, which is also the popular Betsy version of Psylocke, and this has been a big seller. They can't keep it in stock, and people have been, out hunting for it in Targets all the time. So you have that. And another thing that they've had is this past weekend at New York Comic Con, they showed some footage for the next season of X-Men 97, and it looks like Betsy is going to be there. That's clearly Betsy as Psylocke with Warren, Archangel. And of course, they had a history in the comics, the Crimson Dawn storyline, and they were romantically paired for quite a while. Uh, so some stuff has been happening. There's also a novel coming out, and I think Betsy is called Betsy Braddock. In that, it doesn't refer to her as Psylocke, but it doesn't call her Captain Britain either. So everyone knows Psylocke was in the X-Men as Betsy Braddock. She was called Psylocke. That was her name. Before her body transformation, she was with the X-Men from about issue 212 or 213. I think it was drawn by Alan Davis when she showed up, and it was where they fought Sabretooth. She was introduced in the New Mutants right before that. I know people are going to say, well, she was Captain Britain first. Those books I don't think were available to US readers. So maybe, I'm sure they are eventually, but to us, she was introduced as Psylocke, as an X-Men character, not Captain Britain. Um, so then, of course, in the 90s, or in the early 90s, or about 1990, 89 maybe, Jim Lee does the revamp of Psylocke with Chris Claremont, where she goes through the Siege Perilous in I think issue 251. And then she's resurrected by the Hand and Spiral, and her body is transformed. Repeat, her body is transformed. There was no second person that she swapped bodies with. It was just her. She changed. That was what happened. So then what happens later, like 4 or 5 years after that, Fabian Nicieza, K. Fabian, as Ed Piskor used to call him, introduces this character, Revanche. She was not called Psylocke. She had her own name. Betsy has always been Psylocke. So this is where Quanon was first introduced in about 1993. And so he does this retcon. It is a retcon that no, Betsy didn't transform. She actually swapped bodies with this other person. So they kind of rewrite the story that Jim Lee and Chris Claremont did. So this character doesn't stick around. Maybe she's in a few more issues. I don't think she appeared in any comics after 93, 94-ish, all the way until like 2018, 2019 when they brought her back. So that's about 25-year gap where this character is completely gone. No one mentions her. No one's on the internet talking about her. There's no fur or campaign to bring her back. It's just a forgotten thing. Betsy Braddock is Psylocke. She's always been popular, a fan favorite. So then 2018 or 2019, this, which is the kind of peak woke time in identity politics and comics, all of that. They decide that this is somehow problematic, even though no one is upset about it. No one, maybe some people on Twitter that don't translate into real sales, but this was not a problem. So they do this. They undo this retcon swap. So Betsy is in her body, her original body, and Quanon is now the ninja Asian body. But the dumb thing that they do is Quanon takes Betsy's Psylocke name. She doesn't keep this Revanchi name. So she takes her name, and instead of like going back to being in the X-Men, even though she's in her regular body, she doesn't just go back. She's like becomes Captain Britain again, which is another forced kind of thing because Brian Braddock is the popular Captain Britain. Like they're not going to be able to undo that. It's another forced thing that's not going to stick. So instead of that, this other character, Quanon, is now with the X-Men, taking Betsy's spot. Betsy's sidelined in the satellite titles, and she's had several books that didn't last very long and got canceled. Until recently, with the announcement of this Ninja Psylocke story. So the whole Quanon thing, to me, it's really dumb because this was very unimaginative way to explain something that no one was asking to be explained. It was just lame. You know, there's a reason people call him K-Fabian. Like, who are you going to remember? The stories by the heavy hitters, Claremont and Jim Lee, or this, you know... I don't think this era right after Jim Lee left is, you know, that fun to... Maybe once Joe Mad comes to the X-Men, it becomes, you know, better. But so they undo this. So now we have this Ninja Psylocke coming out, which is set in the past, but it's the Betsy version. So I think people are upset about that, because it shows that Marvel might not be as committed as they thought to making Quanon the permanent Psylocke. Maybe, you know, we can, and the popular media is going to continue to portray Betsy as Psylocke. Then they're going to want to have the comics aligned with that. And the other thing is, we also know Marvel has walked back some other things recently. There was the Jason Aaron Punisher series that pretty much destroyed the Punisher, his entire mythos. But now they've kind of restored Frank Castle back as the popular Punisher, you know. So we can only hope that maybe we're inching towards Betsy coming back as the popular Psylocke. And, you know, the thing that bothers me about Quanon being in the X-Men is it feels like she's there, like they're acting like it's the same character, but it's not. To me, it reminds me of around like 2017 time period when they had Wolverine was dead. They hadn't brought him back yet. And they had the Old Man Logan alternate reality version of Wolverine in the X-Men books. And like he was taking... It's like the X-Men are all there acting like it's the same Wolverine they've always known, but it's not. Like, the thing that people love about the X-Men is their relationships between all the characters. And Betsy had strong relationships with almost all the X-Men, you know, whether it was Jean, Storm, Wolverine, Archangel, Rachel. She was a pivotal cornerstone member of the X-Men and a very popular fan favorite character. You always see people cosplaying as the Asian Psylocke, you know, and people don't know, casual people don't know that that's not Betsy Braddock as Psylocke anymore, that they're showing in the current comics. And the X-Men in the 90s was selling very well, and that's Betsy in all the video games, the Super Nintendo game, all of that. So it's trying to undo Betsy as Psylocke is a forced thing that's never going to work. So people are going to just have to accept that, you know, we need, if you want the character to endure, we need the popular version back. So hopefully that's what Marvel is coming to the conclusion as with this. So we'll see what keeps happening.